Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is that you're located. Welcome to More on the Road with Bernard Moore III, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Nothing but more is what we're all about. We're here live on scene at an exciting place, Camping World, here in Jackson, Mississippi, 4610 I-55 South Frontage Road here in Jackson, Mississippi, right off the interstate where you can't miss it because it's got a big Camping World sign on it. So just make sure you take the correct exit if you want to come by. I'm here joining me today. It's a good friend, Coach CJ McLean. We're going to talk about some things that he is doing that I'm a part of, and I can say that he's doing, that we're doing, and some things that he is doing as well here for some inner city youth here in Jackson. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to join you anytime I get an opportunity.
Yeah, now I know you have a lot going on right now. You're a busy man. Which that some people look at that as a bad thing. You're doing too much, but some people look at that as a good thing.
Yeah.
You're making changes, and I think some of the things that you're doing, you're making changes in the future.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a fortune teller or anything. I can rub the crystal ball and say, hey, this is what's going to take place. But just kind of share with the folks about what you're doing right now here.
Sure enough, well, I do know the fortune teller, and that's our Lord and Savior, uh, Jesus Christ in heaven. And the duties that I put in my life, place in my life,
Uh-huh.
I feel guided by Him. So when it comes to the multitasking, I don't take on anything that God doesn't put on my heart. And that's where our nonprofit organization, Mississippi Coaches Alliance, comes into play. We started operating in 2020, and right near the end of that first year of COVID. It's been quite a while. You joined our board of directors here during the last year, and it's been a tremendous blessing for this relationship to continue to grow. But we spread the love of God to student athletes and coaches, and by that, we'll use sporting events in order to garner relationships, and then build those relationships to share with student athletes and coaches how God sees them, how beautiful and amazing they are.
Now, how important is it? Now, I know um, this show, it doesn't cater to just one particular general area. Now, a lot of people that know who I am, they know I'm involved in a lot of sports,
Hmm.
but a lot of them don't know other things that I'm involved in. They just see me, but don't know that what I'm involved in. Yes, I'm involved in the house of worship as a minister, so I'm involved in church as well. So yes, I have a religious background also. How important is it, religion and sport, to work together?
I would say it's very essential in order to create a successful team. You got to pour it into the heart of the athlete, and a lot of coaches are many coaches are really good at calling plays, how to organize, structure or organizational development techniques, but then they leave off the spirit, the heart of their players, their coaches, their staff. Everybody is going through something, and what you find out. And if you don't address that and help people work through the things that they're dealing with in their personal life, then it could affect that team. It could be a detriment to the team itself. And so that's where Mississippi Coaches Alliance again does come into play, because I know a lot about football, and I've played many different levels of football from high school, college, and pro at a high level. And when I was playing, I probably spent very little time working on my spirit, and I suffered a lot, I think, in my career. I didn't use my platform properly to give honor to God, and that's what we're hoping to share with student athletes and coaches, that they put on that stage for a reason. God bless you with these talents, the opportunity to share your talents with the world on TV or through media, social media, different manners. But the main thing that He's looking is for us to give honor to Him.
Now, I know you have some of those, what we call those down low Christians.
Mhm.
We have some of those in the closet Christians. We have some of those straddle the fence Christians. Then you have those out in the open Christians.
Sure.
Some athletes are, not saying all,
Hmm.
some are afraid of They're more the in the closet Christian, and they're afraid to be that out front Christian, especially when they're playing on a sports team.
Yeah.
What is something that, like I said, I know with the Mississippi Coaches Alliance, how you interact with the coaches, provide them with different resources, not about strategic plan, but also faith based and religious. How can the coaches, knowing some of their backgrounds are not religious based, but you don't want to force religion on individual because of the many different beliefs?
Yeah.
How can coaches, help? Like I said, be respectful, but be respectful.
Yeah, well, there's so many levels to Christianity, is the way I would like to determine it. We're all under the same umbrella, wherever you are in your process, in your journey. I'm never going to be judgmental. I would suggest one of the things that I encourage people to do is save judgment for God. That's where his main role is. He'll handle that. But we're here to love on each other, and so it's not normal for student athletes or coaches to share their spirituality with each other. That's again where Mississippi Coaches Alliance comes into play. Is that we want to normalize um, members of the community to share their heart with each other and be involved in not just community service, community outreach, but then also the spiritual nature, spiritual aspects of our community.
Yeah, and that word I don't. Well, it's a word, atheist.
Yeah.
A word of guys. I can't think of the name of where they have a different type of beliefs and religion.
Mhm.
But you may have a 10.
Agnostic.
It's so many other words to
Yeah.
go against. They try to go against the word of God, and especially some players now, the different sectors, public and private.
Hmm.
Especially now we're speaking in school wide, public and private schools. I know I was ignorant at it. When I think about private schools, my mind automatically went to a more faith church based school.
Yeah.
And then compared to the public, where it's open, you can have multiple different religious backgrounds in those particular schools, but you can't really share it because of the different rules that each school district is trying to respect
Yeah.
because of the different beliefs. Now, publicly, in public schools, sometimes you have a team full of atheists,
Yeah.
but you have a coach that has a strong faith base that he wants to share the word of God with his players. And then if that information get back to their parents, and then some parents will come, you need to get rid of that coach
Hmm.
because they're trying to teach my child about the word of God, and we're non-believers. What are some of the restrictions and guidelines and red tape and warning signs and do not caution? I mean, caution signs or do not cross signs. Do you face in today's society with that?
Well, in public school, it's not just the parents; it's also government regulations. Separation of church and state. And so when you're using those public funds, they have now cracked down very hard on things such as sharing, reading the Bible, prayer, openly led prayer by coaches and teachers. Even FCA has had a major restructuring with their setup for visiting and operating in public schools because FCA can't lead the huddle. They can organize it, provide, whether, so a lot of times we'll bring over Chick-fil-A, provide the Chick-fil-A, but then direct them, give them a flow for how a huddle should operate. Then the coach or one of the players would actually operate it. But when you talk about being being protective, is what I was leading to. It's not just uh, being aware of it, but you got to protect your career. Coaches have to protect themselves as far as their coaching career. So what you would do in most cases is you'll just tell them what you know. And when I go and visit with student athletes, I just tell them, this is what I believe. If you don't agree, don't let that separate you from the point that I'm trying to make. And I think usually that does help players not become offended or put off by sharing of the word of God. Is that, hey, this is who I believe created me. He made me wonderfully. He made you wonderfully, and you're absolutely perfect in His eyes. And if you don't believe that, then just take my word for it. But I'm not going to force you. We won't change how I treat you because you don't believe
Now, I'm not trying to, like I said, I just got my CDL license, so I can drive bus now. I'm not trying to throw you up under the bus or anything.
it.
Now, what struggles have you faced especially going into certain environments, certain school systems, and certain homes, that you want to bring the word of God because that's your beliefs. But you don't want to force it on anyone, as said, be a bully for Christ onto those individuals that are still trying to progress. Now, when the world looks at Christians or children of God, they look at the materialistic thing. Okay, how can you be a Christian or you got a team full of faith-based players, but y'all 0-11?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can't win the game. Now, how you gonna? Where's God at in that? How do you face people that way when situations like that? The record doesn't prove that said that they're a strong Christian,
Yeah.
but their action does.
Well, the record never will have any connection to whether you're a strong Christian. What I think does is the ability to create responsible community members. You know, when you're creating players that leave from your team, from your program, and they go out and they create strong families, they're community leaders, business leaders, then that usually will give an indication that you're being led in the proper manner in as far as spirituality. We don't want to turn a player away. It's too early. It's just far too early in their progression, in their progress, in their journey to be adverse to their beliefs. You know, we don't want to create a battle between a 13, 14, 16-year old and someone who does know and have experience. So the kindness, the love of God is really where we're more responsible. And we don't have to convince them that God created the heavens and earth at 16 years old. But if we can convince them that they are loved, that I myself love who you are, then that opens a doorway for them later for them to experience and to connect with God themselves.
Now, I see myself being a public school student. I'm not ashamed to. I graduated from Forest Hill High School.
Mm-hmm.
I then matriculated over to Jackson State to receive my bachelor's in my undergrad degree. As you can see, yes, I got the Jackson State Tigers shirt on, even though he decided to go outside the state. But I'm not upset at he came back home. Yeah, and so, well, first, speaking of Jackson, I want to say congratulations to the Jackson State softball team. They're the 2024 SWAC champions. They defeated FAMU 3-1. So congratulations, coach, and those young ladies. Boy, they had an outstanding season. Congratulations to you all, as well as the Hinds Community College ladies softball team too. I'm not sure what was the outcome of their season, but I know they were playing for close to the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So we got softball that's coming along, and especially within the central area in the state of Mississippi. So something interesting. But being a public school um, graduate, walking the hallways and seeing how things are. Yes, I was at first ashamed of the gospel when I was in high school.
Yeah.
We went to practice, and at the end of practice, yes, we prayed. We said the Lord's Prayer that was just common ground.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was still at it. I was ignorant of what I was doing. I just went along because it was the team thing.
Yeah.
And once I had opportunity to enroll at Jackson State, I heard about FCA, but I didn't know what it was. And so once I attended Jackson State, and I was invited to one of the huddles by our offensive coordinator, Coach John Shannon, and I went in, and the rest is history.
Sure.
And that's how I learned to grow. How important it is for things like the FCA, like the Mississippi Culture Alliance, to be involved in the school settings, even though you have so many restrictions of, like I said, separating state and religion.
Sure enough, we so Mississippi Coaches Alliance doesn't have those same restrictions. First of all, we're a faith-based nonprofit and 501c3, and so when we're invited into a school, we can just tell them what we know. But we also, going back to the point, we don't want to turn anyone away. We don't want to have 100 players and 99 of them connect, and one just walks away saying, "Man, I'm not going back to that." We want to make it where they want to continue to be involved, continue to show up to our events, and continue to participate. And then, like I said, open up an alleyway for God to touch their heart.
Now, again, this is a more on the road with Bernard Moore, the third, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. We're here live at Camperware, 4601 I-55 South Furnace Road. We're sitting inside of a camper, man. It is nice. As you can see, the TV has a love seat. we're going to get into the reason why we came in here because it is so exciting to do. Man, no, it's lovely, comfortable in here. Uh, you can basically some people live in these. They're sold their home. I've seen some individuals who sold their homes and they start camping. They moved into the camping. They're camper. But as you can see, as we're outside, let me let the sun up so you can see how beautiful it is outside. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in. But these are some nice campers. This is a campers. I know you have your RVs, but we're in a camper right now. This is one that you have to hook up to a truck and pull along. Mainly get your double wide, your double cab trucks, like the 3500s or your not 3500s. Yes, your 3500 side trucks or your F350s. Get those to definitely come out and so you be able to pull trailers like campers like this because it is nice, man. Like I said, you got the TV. Some of them are basically almost like a house now. I've known people just sell their homes and they travel the world, so they want to see the world. Only thing they're paying for is a lot of gas and replacing batteries, but they're living somewhat tax free, not paying any taxes, but when they travel, hey, it is what it is. But now, Coach, what we was talking about in reference to this camper
Yeah.
that is summertime. Well, basic calendar summertime. Do you know what comes after summertime? Is football season.
Yes, sir.
We just forget fall. It's just summertime then football season. So how interesting is it that we're sitting in the camper and we're finna go to kick out the summer,
Yeah.
get things prepared to get ready for football season?
Yeah, I'll tell you, a lot of our customers use RVs for tailgating. Jackson State does have a pretty extensive network of motorhome RV users. They've got a lot that they'll allow you to set up at tailgate. I mean, I'd say every school that I know of has some type of RV lot for tailgating, and so it makes it really convenient. You don't have to have a hotel room. I mean, this is your hotel room, but you're not renting, borrowing somebody else's room that other people have been in yesterday, and they just switched the sheets over, and now you're in today. But it makes it really convenient to be on site, usually on campus, if not right outside the stadium in a lot of cases. So, RVs do present so many opportunities for families to be closer, friends to be closer, and that's why I really enjoy doing this. But here at Camping World, we have every different type of RV, and you can give me a call at 601-750-5818. If you've got any questions about potentially owning an RV, I'd love to help.
Yeah. Now, how important? It's not important, but it is. Like I said, it is. It is great to have.
Hmm.
How does that? How do you think that made the tailgaters feel or the fans feel that hey, I can park right outside the stadium, I can enjoy the game, I can cook my own food, enjoy the
Yeah,
game, go in there, then come back out, and I'm still here at my home where I can rest and relax before I go to hit the highway or before I go to go home.
yeah. You could save yourself a couple different things: money, jail time in some cases. I don't necessarily, encourage people to drink heavily, but we do know that at games it does happen.
Yes.
People are going to be drinking. They're going to be drinking. That's what happens a lot at some of these tailgating events. And so just imagine, and then not even just alcohol, but then also food. So you're saving yourself money because you can make your own food, bring your own food. There's people who might put out a big buffet and share it. Most tailgaters share with their friends around. So instead of spending all $8 cheeseburgers or 10 or some NFL games, it can be a lot more money college than NFL. But yeah, you're saving money, potentially saving some jail time because you can just walk right outside and go back to sleep or work it off, drink it off with some water or whatever you got to do to get it out your system. But instead of hopping in your car, you might save somebody's life in that sense because you're going to be not driving drunk.
Yeah. Now I know a lot of high school spring games are taking place now. College just finished there about a few weeks ago, and high school are closing out the fall session with their spring games. Have you seen an increase? of RVs and campers and tailgating in high school sports lately, high school football?
Not so much because there's not as big a setup. You got to reserve a section of the parking lot, and at a high school game, you're mostly going to need most, especially major schools, you're going to need that section for parking. And so they wouldn't encourage people to stay after the game. They want you to clear the campus. So just different regulations when you're dealing with high school. But a lot of parents that own RVs. I've had parents that travel sporting events, and instead of renting a hotel, they'll take the RV to an RV park nearby, and so you can follow your kids. I've heard of student athletes who have parents who move to their city or town in an RV when they're in college. So you can just hook your RV up, motorhome, drive it right on over to where your kids are attending college for the weekend, which then who knows, they may not really like that. But in a lot of cases, again, bringing families closer together so you don't have to purchase a house or rent a house in, say, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Then you can just go up there, get your RV park. You're there, pay by the month. If your kid checks out for summer, then you guys can fly back home, drive back home, or you just want to live there while they're enrolled.
Yeah. Now, I've worked the Dixie National Rodeo a few years, and we had to check in the guests as they come in. And I saw one RV. It was nice. I'm talking about it
Hmm.
was nice, and we looked to see what it was. $1 million for it, and it had the bells and whistles. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
It was a big one, so you can actually live in. I think it had a nice queen size bed. It was nice. I can put it that much. Just as just as this one here, it was nice because you can see it had everything that you needed. This one has a kitchen, it has a gas stove with a microwave, refrigerator, TV, fireplace, love seat, two individual chairs, your kitchen table where we're sitting. Then it has your bedroom and restroom, bathroom, all that good stuff in here. So if you're interested in definitely getting an RV or a camper, come see Coach CJ at Camping World, 4601 I-55 South Furnace Road in Jackson, Mississippi. He gave you contact number, but I know he's probably going to give it out again and talk about it. So I'm gonna invoice him for that to give him the shots out for him. Come see him over at Camping World to go ahead and get you a camper as well as an RV. But they're nice. I'm not going to sit here and fabricate
They make
that.
different kinds. I'll say that. They call them entry level if you're just going out for the weekend. We encourage you to match up your RV with your requirements.
Okay.
If somebody walks up and they're like, man, I'm only going to have time 12 times a year, once a month, to use an RV. Well, I'll instantly encourage them to pick up something less expensive. If they're just going to need it to go off to the lake, every other weekend. That's 24 times in a year. So we want to match up your budget as well with your usage. Now, if you're saying that you're going to be traveling like a travel nurse, I've had numerous travel nurse customers. They're going to be in it, could be 6, 8 months. Then they may want to invest in something that's full time living, got full residential quality, or what we call a Four Seasons RV. And so it'll have all the comforts of home. The one that we're sitting in is a full time living RV, and so it'll have every feature that any RV's got, and the better quality upholstery, woodwork. So it's just going to last a lot longer because you're using it a lot more.
Yeah, and with that, I know with the travel nurses as well as like I said, uh, businessmen who like to follow their child's sporting events, they constantly going there. Um, how they would definitely get RVs, like I said, accommodate some cemeteries that have your TV, your love seat, your fireplace, because depending on where you're going, and some places up north right now it's cold and it's supposed to be getting into summer, and so that's why you will want the fireplace. I mean, them said fireplaces, the RVs or campers that can accommodate as if you are directly in your home. Have you seen individuals, uh, as we say, the retired ones,
Hmm.
that say, "Hey, I'm finna sell my home and I'm finna just travel the world"? I'm gonna give me a RV, and that's what we're gonna live out until our end time, or we'll just go stay with our children
Yeah,
once we're done.
yeah, that is happening. It's more of a minimalist society. It's becoming more popular for people to trim down with their living quarters. So the tiny homes are very popular. But then, in the same sense, an RV is growing in popularity for especially for retirement because you can move. You can just pick up and move. You don't have to get a new mortgage because you want to go over to Washington or over to Arizona or Florida for 2 or 3 months. You don't have to go through the process of filling out a rental application. You just pack your RV up, call up the closest RV park, reserve you a spot, and there's home there for however long you want to be there.
Wow, that's something. So I'm not looking for it. I don't like driving around the city, so I'm not sure if I would want to invest in that unless my significant other will enjoy driving and taking the opportunity to go. But I want to just give a shout out to a few people while we're on the show right now. Want to say tune in every Wednesday at 6 p.m. or just meet us live at Full Moon Barbecue for Talking Sports Live with Rob J, Jamie Hoard, Larry Nixon, myself, and our other team members. Log on to the website www.tslivems.com. Find us on social media, Facebook, X, however they want to classify it now, Instagram as well as YouTube. Definitely, but we would like for you to join us live at Full Moon Barbecue and join us in fellowship with us as well. And
Yummy.
I said, and speaking of Full Moon, like I said, you can come by Full Moon. They are supporters of our show, and I really appreciate them for all that they have been doing for us with myself at More on the Road. So stop by and see Tim and his team at 1935 Main Street in Madison, Mississippi. Give them a call at 601-853-1712 to place an order. Now, just like they told me, if you call in the order, it'll probably be ready between 8 to 10 minutes because they cook this stuff as soon as you call in and place the order. So it is good, hot and warm, but if you, I would advise you just go in and sit down and eat because I don't want you to try to eat and drive with the barbecue because I tried that and made a mess a couple of times, and don't want to have anybody to have an accident. And they also do provide catering. They have a different number 601-466-7713. And when you call for catering, make sure that you order some banana pudding so that
Mm.
they can sit me some to the side. So when they give me a call when they get it. I also want to give a shout out to Monique Dessert Boutique. Give her a call at 646-926-9240. Monique Dessert Boutique. You can locate her on Facebook as well as MDB LLC. So give her a call to bake all that good stuff. Like I said, man, Coach been trying to eat differently, and then I'm getting hooked up with all these
Yeah, it's tough.
restaurants and all these people that cooking all this sweet stuff. It just makes no sense. Like even Minnesota Lucy's burgers and smoked wings. Give him a call, guy Anthony Stone 901-628-4573. He has a food truck. So I'm what is it? I guess it's just temptation. They putting all this food around me and stuff and wants me to try to do wrong. But when you try to do right, no wrong always quick to find. So that's why, like Coach and I was stating, you definitely got to have a strong religious base, faith base, because temptation definitely will come and find you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating good. You just everything in moderation. So you probably I don't know how much activity you get in your daily base, daily process, but walking, exercising, and then get you some banana pudding. So I'm not suggesting that everything that shout out to TM, of course, the team at Full Moon Barbecue because they do a lot of stuff in the community for many entities, not only more and more on the road. And so yeah, they got great stuff. Have at it.
Yeah, I
Just
know. That I said I've been there quite some time. But and also, like I said, stop by Camping World NCCJ 4601 I-55 South Furnace Road here in Jackson, Mississippi. Definitely come on out. Like I said, is summertime getting prepared for football season. I'm not gonna say fall, it's football season. We just completely kick fall out the way. It's football season. Now, in reference to speaking to football season, I definitely wanted to talk with you about the we regional combine
yes, sir.
that we have coming up on May 25th. Like I said, it's right around the corner, taking place at Hughes Field. Sign up is at 3 p.m. I'm not sign up.
Registration.
Registration is at 3 p.m. Over at Hughes Field. That's in Jackson, right behind Western Plaza. So you can go to the website. It's an invite only, mscoaches.org. So, Coach, go ahead and tell us about the We Up Regional Combine.
Man, I am excited. Spirit of God put it on my heart to bring unity to the most important part of our state, and that's our capital. And I always tell people, I understand you might live in Ridgeland, Madison, Gulfport, uh, Holly Spring, wherever you actually live. I get that. But if you don't have a heart for the central area, the capital, then you might want to question your intents. The Bible does speak that heart. They speak of a heart not as an organ, not so much what pumps in our chest, but the things that create emotion in us. That's
Mhm.
where your heart is. So, I hear people always putting down Jackson. Well, and for whatever reasons, whether that's valid or not, it's something that people say. Well, instead of speaking down anything or anyone, go out and get involved. And so that's where the We Up Regional Combine came to life. Was God putting it on my heart to create a greater network of unity, more pride in the community. So what we're doing is we're bringing every school, high school and middle school player out to Hughesfield on May 25th. And if you know someone that's participating or that signs up at mscoach.org, don't be late. 3 o'clock is registration. And so one checked in and ready to hit the field not long after. So, 3 o'clock is the last time you should. If you're not there before 3 o'clock, you're going to miss something. So go ahead and show up early. We'll be there. I would say as early as 2 o'clock, getting everything set up. So just come on out. But what we're going to be doing is instead of having these teams that only compete on Fridays, we're going to bring them all together and let them work together and compete player to player, creating now a greater sense of competition. So, you got some really good wide receivers at one school, and maybe some really good DBs at another school, maybe some really good linemen at another school. So we'll have all those players working together for one day. And that way, the level of competition is going to grow when they go out on the field on Friday nights in football season. And, then also creating a sense of pride, realizing that, hey, these people, everybody that's there participating or on staff, volunteering, they're volunteering their time. And it should show the kids how important they are. That, they don't have to do anything to earn God's love. They don't have to do anything to earn the love of Mississippi Coaches Alliance and our board of directors. So we volunteer to go out and share our knowledge of football. We'll have and have some add a competitive nature to the event. They're also going to have the ability to get timed, get an idea of how fast they are, how agile they are, and what areas of those specific drills they need to work on.
Now, I'm a I'm a former athlete and a coach. How important, in your opinion, is the 40 time in football?
Well, in the game of football, I would say very little importance. More importance should be placed on uh, speed and agility. So straight line speed is very few times where you'll find yourself running full speed for 40 yards during a game. So what you're going to do a lot of times is run 10 yards and then 10 yards, 5 yards and then 10 yards, maybe on a long run, 10 or 15 yards. But very few times will you have bursts of speeds where you run consistently in a straight line. So that's why the 40 is not that important. But as you get into college and the pros, they use those metrics to separate players. So it will become important because it's going to represent your opportunity. Whether you're really good or not, if you run a slow 40 time, you'll have less opportunities. So that's why it does become more important as you progress in your career.
Now, I can say the 40. I'm not ashamed to say that my 40. The best I ran was a 4.7,
Uh-huh.
and I was a defensive back.
Yeah.
And some people look defensive back. I played corner as well as safety and nickel down package. And some say that is slow, but I use my speed and my smartness to outsmart my opponent.
Yeah.
Now, yes, I probably got beat deep sometimes, yeah, but did they throw it to him? No.
Yeah.
But it's the thing about I use other aspects, other um, metrics to defeat my opponent. Now, it would have been nice to have a good 40 because, like I said, you're not running in a straight line, but it's all about how you use what you have to your advantage. Now, how important is for skills to fundamentally sound player compared to someone that is just naturally athletic?
Well, it's coaching is very important, and so when it comes to player skill, the coaches can reinforce those skills. In a lot of cases, that doesn't happen. So it is important for players to pick up on those techniques early. That way, they stay on the field because a player that doesn't participate, it's hard for them to stay involved. And so when you got players on your team that are not playing, they're not going to be paying attention. But every player is important on the team, whether it's a practice player or a starter. And so, the agilities are going to be more important in those cases. But just making sure that they're paying attention during practice, focusing in on their, uh, the position specific agilities is going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Again, this is a More on the Road with Bernard Moore, the third presented to you by More and More Sports Management. We're here live at Camping World. I'm here with Coach CJ McLean. We're talking about sports, talking about religion, talking about getting yourself ready for some football season. Like I said, it's like I said, you got 4 seasons. You got winter, summer, spring, and football season. So we're not going to sit here and say that you have fall, you have football season. But I definitely want to talk with you guys about some other events that we have going on that associate with the More and More Sports Management. Our Coaching Cancer Benefit Basketball Game, which will take place July the 12th at Hillcrest Christian School, 4060 South Sidewell Road. So I'm challenging all my coaches here in the state of Mississippi from whatever level, middle school, high school, college, professional, Pee Wee League, Summer League, all those good AAU. So I'm challenging all my coaches to definitely come on out, be a part of the Coaching Cancer Benefit Basketball Game. It's not something where I'm calling on my coaches to put up 40 points and they'll come out and give an all-star MVP game. I just ask the coach to come out and provide a source of entertainment where we can come out and have fun and raise money for a cause for breast cancer, for domestic violence, because those individuals need coaches. And when we think of coach, we think about sports, every aspect. And just have a different title, but it's involved in every aspect. As a coach, your job as a coach is to bring the best out of the players or the individuals that you're working with. So I'm challenging my coaches to come on out and be a part of the Coaching Cancer Benefit Basketball game so that we can show support for those breast cancer survivors or ones that are going through the treatment and all those good things, as well as domestic violence, because they need someone to encourage them to continue to fight on, to continue to go on, to continue to do things better because they're going through a situation. So, coaches, I'm calling on you again. July the 12th this year will take place at Hillcrest Christian School. That's in South Jackson. So you'll learn more information as the time go. So definitely stay tuned for that. And also my annual Old School Hoop Fest, calling on my Jackson Public School former ballers, whatever you want to classify yourself as, the Bailey Bangan Knights, the Callaway Chargers, the Forest Hill Rebels/Patriots, Jim Hill Tigers, Lanier Bulldogs, Merrill Mustangs, Provine Rams, and the Wingfield Falcons. I'm calling on you guys and girls to come out and participate in the annual Old School Hoop Fest, July the 27th at Lanier High School. That's the home of the mighty Bulldogs, who won a numerous of championships. So congratulations to those 833 Maple Street players. But I'm calling on all 8 institutions of, now we have down to 6, but
Mhm.
all of my 8 institutions, so you know who you still represent. You walk those halls of those schools, so definitely come on out and be a part of the annual Old School Hoop Fest. It's free admission, but donations are welcome because all the proceeds, all the donations from this game will go directly to JPS Athletics. I started this back in 2013, I want to say, with Clint Johnson, and I'm looking to continue to get better and better each year. But this year is going to be fun. It's all about family this year. So July the 27th, come on out to Lanier High School. Uh, Come out and support and cheer those ladies and gentlemen on. So players, we still have some roster spots, so definitely come on out and enjoy some benefit basketball games by Jackson Public Schools style. Then also my Holy Patrol hoops, the unity of law and religious on the court, on the basketball court now, not in the court of justice, on the basketball court. So we invite you guys to come on out. I have some professional teams that will participate in this game. I have 2 guys and two men's team and 2 women's team that will participate in this game. So definitely come on out. August the 4th, again at Hillcrest Christian School. Admission is $10, and the proceeds from this game will go to Operation Shoestrings. Uh, Went to one of the events a few years ago, and I really enjoy what they're doing. I was ignorant at what Operation Shoestring does. I only thought that they were a food pantry, but they're more than just a food pantry. They provide service to the community, the school age scholars, and to the parent teams. They do a lot. So definitely stop on by Operation Shoestrings on Bailey Avenue and see what they're doing and see how you can be a part in helping them. So definitely come on out to the Holy Patrol Hoops, which would take place August the 4th at Hillcrest Christian School. Now, Coach, now we want to go back to the athletic aspect of fundamentals and skills. I'm not sure if you played Pee Wee League football coming up. I didn't have that opportunity. I had an uncle and some family members that taught me the game of football and then played at elementary during PE time and had opportunities to play in middle school and high school. And then I transitioned on to Jackson State. How important is it is to start at an early age at the Pee Wee level of teaching basic fundamentals so you won't create bad habits down the line?
That's hard. It's a hard line to separate. Why? Because I'll give you an example. My first team was actually, community based organization. I think if I remember correctly, it was just some guys from the neighborhood, and we competed. I went to John Hopkins Elementary School, and so we would play over at Newell Field on Saturdays, and we would go to practice and run plays. So we didn't really get a lot of fundamentals. And so, it just depends. I would encourage you, reach out to me, Mississippi. We are a tremendous resource. That's one of our duties is to guide parents, guide coaches, connect parents and coaches. So if you're looking for a good quality program, just give me a call. Again, look for an RV, give me a call. If you're looking for a home loan, give me a call. But 6017605818. And I would love to be involved in that journey with helping parents connect with a good program. So if you're in a program that does teach fundamentals, because what is hope, sports do so many things. And first of all, coaches are superheroes. You know, we spend most of our time with our parents, and then after our mom and dad, family members, the second or third most influential person in our life is a coach. And if you have a spiritual family, he's only second to a minister. You know, so next thing you'll be interacting with the coach. So getting those relationships are really important. Having a relationship where kids can learn to be directed, because in this day and age, kids get their feelings hurt so quickly, so bad. It may go up in employment. You know, you go to a restaurant and there's hardly any staff. Well, people are not kids are not growing up learning how to work. So those relationships with coaches help encourage them to learn to work with other people, work as a team, and so that way when you become an adult, you become a lot more effective employee or business owner or community leader. So yeah, it is really important to get those relationships going if you're on a good in a good program. And then when you get to high school, now, hey, let's just talk about the fact that the money of it. Sports is a profession. No, it was
Yeah.
more like a lottery ticket when we grew up. But now, there's NIL. You can be a high school player and gain financial stability, financial freedom in the right setup. So if you got a talented kid, I'm not saying that you want to raise them to only be a football player or only be a basketball player, but the reality is that if you do it right, they can, and they can walk into or work their way into life changing amounts of money, change your entire community, change the trajectory for your entire family. So it is really important to get these kids involved early. I think there is a limit to how much activity a kid should do constantly, like from team to team to team to team to different teams in a day, with travel. But just, be be cautious about getting your kids some rest, allowing them to just be a child and just relax and enjoy time with the family. But, like I said, with the opportunities that exist professionally, getting them involved early could make a big difference in setting them up for success.
Now, in reference to, like I said, teamwork, it not only just builds you on the playing field, it also helps you out off the field or the court in corporate America, in the classroom, in the communities, because based off of who your head coaches were, like I said, they are superheroes. They taught you more things sometimes than other than that particular sport. Because, like I said, sometimes some coaches have to be a parent, some coaches have to be a counselor, some coaches have to be a Uber driver, some coaches have to be a server, a restaurant. Not saying that their athletes are certain in certain dynamics, their home environment is a little
Mhm.
different. But sometimes you just have to step up because that's just showing a coach or individual with character or someone that cares
Yeah,
about the person that's out there. Basically, you can say they're sacrificing their life also. I'm
yeah,
speaking of the scholar athlete
yeah,
because they're out there in the trenches, out there giving their all for a guy or a lady just sitting on the sideline barking out plays or
exactly.
barking out instructions. So, but coach, hey, I need something in return. So not saying you're doing it because you want something in return. You're doing it because that's what you have a passion for. How important for it is that the coach to not just only be a coach to his players or to her players.
Yeah, it goes back to the spiritual aspects of coaching. FCA does a really good job of teaching the different levels of what's important on a coach. You got the X's and O's. You got the training aspects, weight lifting and practicing. But then you also have to be. If you don't want to raise, you don't want to be a part of raising a generation of disconnected community members, those that don't learn to share their heart. So if you're spending this much time with them and you don't share your heart with them, then they're just going to follow in your footsteps. They'll be emotionally disconnected, won't possess the ability to share their feelings and thoughts in a respectful or professional or in a positive and effective manner. So the coach has so many areas that he can influence players later. I think it is really important that he or she takes that opportunity to share who they are with their players. So then later in life, they're gonna like Houston Nutt is a great example. He was very influential in my life and still is, and so he shared his family with us. I know his daughters. We have each other's phone number. So this is like 30 years later, because he shared his family with us, and so it showed me how important it is for me to be a family man.
Uh,
And so that's what the example coaches are, so much more than just they're there for far more than winning a game. I think the games are important. If you're going to win, it does create a sense of pride, but also teaching these kids, teaching the players on your team how to share their emotions is going to be important.
Now, with that being said, Coach, from your time and watching sports and seeing some coaches, having interacting with coaches as well as players, do you see a difference in interaction between coaches and players that if the coach has a successful record and the ones that have unsuccessful records? Do you see that? Do you see a difference in the interaction between the players and the coaches?
From the players that I know in my own experience, there's a direct correlation. Players that just go looking back at the coaches who've been the most successful, you talk to their players, and they'll tell you that it was the stuff that happened off the court is the reason why they were so attentive and willing to put it all on the line and really give their full effort to the coach and to the team. So it is a direct relationship there. If they feel connected to the coach, then they're going to be paying. They'll have their eyes on him, their ears tuned into what he's saying, and players who are tuned in are going to work better and more effectively together.
Now, not calling any coaches name, not trying to pinpoint any coach because these were some successful coaches. The Bobby Knights,
Yeah.
who's a hard nosed
Sure.
coach. I never seen it, but I only just heard about it and what I've seen on TV. The style of coach he was,
Yeah.
and now you probably don't know this coach. This was my high school coach, Coach Harrison Howe.
Mhm.
He was more of a laid back, quiet coach. He had his voice. He had a low voice, but he had a low, strong voice. Now he didn't yell at us a lot when we was playing. He was my basketball and my football coach. You see today's athletes. Do you think that they can handle a coach Bobby Knight? No, all in your face, yelling, but the production on the court has shown. Now we have a local coach here, Coach Thomas Billings. Everybody respect. Now, 'cause before I tell them, so before I really knew Coach Billings, I've heard about him. I was afraid of him. I didn't even play for him. But when I started coaching, I was a football coach at Lanier, and I had the opportunity to know who he was,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw him differently. And then not saying that I didn't have any respect for him previously, but I had more respect of him because we talked, and he kind of shared me know why he is the way
Yeah.
that he is.
Yeah, I played for Coach Billups Summer League. Me and my cousin, we went to Madison Central, and my uncle Keith Barnes, who is athletic director at Tougaloo, who now works with Coach Billings at Tougaloo, he hooked us up so we could play summer league with the guys from Lanier. And so I don't remember him being hard on us. He was just hard on the process.
Uh-huh.
If there was a way to do it, he was going to expect us to do it that way, and he expected us to do it the right way at all times, and that made us better players, a better team. And I know he's chilled out quite a bit now, but he just had high expectations for success, and it showed in the championship rings. I mean, he's one of the winningest coaches in Mississippi high school basketball, high school history, and that's because first of all he was always there. He was a tremendously caring person, and you wouldn't see that if you're looking at him. But then also, I'll remind you that the kids that he was coaching, in a lot of cases, were from rough communities. So he had to do what he felt necessary to communicate and connect to them and get their attention in a lot of cases. And that's what it took. And he was really good at it.
Yeah, and some people just look at the element of if you don't know him, you just only hear stories about him. Like I said, because I didn't know him, I just heard stories, and I kind of saw it, but I wasn't there to know him. And like I said, I was afraid of him when I was in high school.
Right.
Now I know they played against Forest Hill back in 1994 at the Big House, and they defeated Forest Hill.
Mhm.
And so, and I heard some stories about what he, about what type of coach he was. And so then once I got to high school, I was like, man, we can play against him. Yeah, I don't want. I'm gonna stay away from him. And then I see him walk in the gym, and I wouldn't speak. I just go the other way. It's like, no, he gives that persona, like, hey, he a hard nosed coach. But and then seeing him coach, no, yeah, he a hard nosed coach, but he proves he had product on the floor.
Yeah.
But then once I started coaching over there, and then I had the opportunity to speak, talk with him, it's like, man, this dude cool. No, he number just old country boy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so he cool. No, and nice. I began to know who he is, and we said and we conversed. We talked about, just like stated, the element, the environment that those players that he coached at Lanier, what they were around, and so he had to show them some real tough love. And sometimes that's what players need, but sometimes you can say the generation today, they kind of run away from that.
Sure enough, I don't remember watching him direct. Like, I definitely never saw him harm a player. I've seen him get in coach players' faces, but he got in Jerry Nichols' face, Shannon Long's face. He wasn't only on the players that didn't play that well. It was
Yeah,
any player. It didn't matter who you were.
yeah,
So that was the best thing about it, is he held everybody accountable.
yeah. And speaking of successful coaches at Jackson, I had opportunity to coach Anna Jackson over
Hmm.
there, Murrah. Now she was she was kind of somewhat the same way. No, she was. I never had opportunity to really know Coach Jackson. I just
Hmm.
seen her when she was coaching when I was a scholar at FRC. Watched them play. Now she had success on the court, and she demanded a lot out of her players, and I've seen the success of some of her players. Actually, spoke with a few of them a couple weeks ago. Not a couple weeks, a couple days ago. They was on Talking Sports with Rob J and Jamie Hort, and they was talking about how she taught them as young ladies, what to do, why they were in high school, how to be young ladies on and off the court. And then her counterpart, Coach Osmond Jordan, he was one of those good successful coaches. And like I said, he had talent at Merle and those different type of elements, because those players that played at Lanier, those players that played at Merle, those players that played at Jim Hill, Callaway, all those different intercity schools, they knew each other and they
Yeah.
played against each other, like I said, in the neighborhood at the community park. So they knew the environment, so they had to really be on them,
Yeah.
to really pull out the best. Now, your coaches, your high school coaches, how were they on you? Were they hard nosed coach, or they said they just looked at you, CJ, go get it done, and you
Yeah.
have to get it done?
So I would dare say I was a special case because I loved doing it.
Uh
There,
huh.
I wanted to to play. I wanted to win. I wanted to be the very best. And so if the coach addressed me, I took it as a help. I never, but I also grew up in a two parent home where my dad, was very influential in my upbringing. So I had a preparation for that relationship in advance. So then if you're in a situation maybe where there is not a dad involved, you'll see a lot of those be examples where kids, they don't take instruction well
Yeah.
because they're just not used to it. And nothing against moms, but there's a reason why God made a family and put a man and a woman at the head of it. They have different talents. They're naturally possess different talents, neither better than the other. And I don't, nothing against anyone who doesn't have a supporting parent in their home, but it was designed to work better together. A man, a woman, two leaders working together to guide a family, to train up kids in a way that they should follow. And so, in those examples, you'll see some challenges if there's either of those missing. We see a lot of kids being raised by their grandparents now, where both parents are missing, and that doesn't specifically say that kid is going to be a challenged kid, but statistics do show that in cases where mom and dad are not in the home, mom or dad are not in the home, then it creates a tremendous challenge for the kids.
Yeah. Well, Coach, man, I really do appreciate your time and converse with me, my followers on more on the road. But if you're definitely interested in getting your camper or RV, come on see CJ at Camping World 4601 I-55 South Furnace Road in Jackson, Mississippi. Come on out, cause like I said, the one that we're in right now, it is lovely and it is definitely something that you can enjoy yourself in. I know you only get a partial view of it, but it is lovely because when I walked down, I was like, man, it's like some almost a house. I'm walking to a house. But definitely come on out and see CJ at Camping World 4601 I-55 South Furnace Road in Jackson, Mississippi. And also those campers of scholarships of JPS in the Jackson metro area. Definitely sign up for the We Are Regional Combine
Yes.
mscoaches.org. You see the website here, and we definitely will blast it out. Like I said, you can give CJ a call at 601-760-5818 for more information about it. Registration is at 3, so definitely come on out. I know I will be there also. I'm going to probably lace up some shoes and show you guys that this 40, hold on. Yeah, actually, it's a couple days after my birthday. So, yes, y'all, I'm going to show y'all that this 45-year-old
Yeah.
can still get out there and play football. So definitely come on out again at Hughes Field. Registration started at 3 p.m. Hughes Field is located right behind Western Plaza, across from CDC, next to Provine High School. Coach, is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here? I'm gonna go take a nap in there because
Yeah,
I don't need to drive.
you got a couple options. Yeah, there's a big king size bed right up there. But yeah, I just really want to encourage parents of Jackson Public School students. We're not purposely leaving anyone out. There are many other school districts in the area, other schools in the area, but we focused in on those kids for our first combine. We plan to host many more in the future. But go ahead and register, like Bernard said, at mscoaches.org, and then make sure to show up on time or early. We're going to have a tremendous time. We're going to feed the kids. There'll be Gatorade and a good opportunity to share with your other community members. So we really look forward to seeing everybody there on May 25th.
Yes, sir. Because like I said, I'm gonna get that. I'm sure with this 45. That's I hear my knee popping now. So I'm gonna go home at Tim at full moon and give me something to eat and go holler at Monique about a cookie because for the treat because I want to treat myself
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. But definitely come on out to the combine. We definitely will be there, have a lot of fun. But now it's time to get out of here. Cause I'm finna go into that. You said king size bed in there, right?
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna go
is.
lay down the king size bed at this camper at Camper World. So definitely swing on by. But before I get out of here, you know how we go. Talk to you guys later. Thank you for the support. 1+1 equals deuces.